Yeah. Hello. Hello and welcome to Friday. Oh my goodness. I am so happy it's Friday. Um, it's been feels like a very long week. Very long week. Oh, and yeah, morning. Let's get into this. I was going to be on earlier, but I have been enthralled in some looking into some crazy shit. And it's so mind-boggling. Some of it's just like you just can't it's hard to grasp. It's hard to grasp everything. Good morning, Andrea. Thank you for joining me. And thank you, whomever else is joining me. Good morning, Char. Good morning, good morning, good morning. Okay, let's get into this shit. Because there's a lot of shit going on, man. There is. Okay, I've been talking about your angels and bringing in your angels. I've been talking about mediumship and uh connecting with your loved ones. And I did get a few questions, but a lot of questions I just have to put out. When I'm doing this, I'm not here to do a reading for people. If you are wanting a reading and wanting to connect with your loved ones, book in. All right. And yes. And I want to say thank you to everybody who has um gave me some feedback. And I even had one of my a longtime client that I saw last Saturday and connected with me, and because she still receives my newsletter. God bless her. Thank you. Because my newsletter, my amount of people who get my newsletter goes up, goes down. I mean, I don't but she and sometimes I don't. Sometimes you send your newsletter out, you don't hear from anybody. You're just like, I don't know if anybody got it, but I hope it was good. And she gave me some really fabulous feedback, and um, it was I really thank you so much. And then one of the feedbacks was because one of the questions I asked is the amount I charge. And I know a lot of people are like, yeah, well, it's a little bit high and it's a little bit this. And her and I had a chat and stuff like that. She goes that she told me to raise my rates. And she wasn't the only one. And I went, "Oh, okay." And then I had another person come up and who emailed, well, who came up at the show. But then I had an email of somebody coming up and said, "No, you should raise your rates." I was not expecting that, and even had another person at the show, and I was going to talk about this earlier this week, but other things came in, and who've all said, "Raise your rates." And I went, "Holy shit." I was not expecting that. I was not expecting people to tell me to raise my rates. I was gonna say, "Well, maybe you should charge less," and, stuff like that. And that just gave me the confirmation, because a lot of times when you are doing this work, people don't tell you shit. Like, a lot of psychics don't share shit with other psychics and stuff like that. They like to, "Oh, everything's fine. My life's great." And I'm just like, "Really? My life's really sucking right now and I'm really struggling. How are you doing what you're doing?" Right? So, having really honest feedback from not only clients but from other metaphysical workers is absolutely great, because it's sometimes you just need that. You need that feedback from others just to give you that, yeah, this is what I think you should be doing and stuff. So my website isn't done yet, but when it is done, which should be, I'm gonna give myself another week, that once it is done, my rates are going up. I just said fuck it, like, yeah. I agree 100%. And it's there's an amount in my head, and that's the amount it's gonna go by. Whoo, big scary steps I'm taking. And I know for some it's gonna be like, holy shit, that's a lot. That's really too much. But I the other thing is, a lot of things that I do, like my meditations and stuff, I got feedback on that too from somebody like, "Why are you charging only, charging by donation?" So I have on the Jupiter Uranus conjunction on the 20th, I'm doing it by donation. And then other meditations I did by $25 and stuff. And I heard from another teacher who does meditation by teachers. She says, no, you should be charging at least $25 a session for each of the meditations. And she goes, you got to start doing that. And I went, wow. So a lot of beautiful feedback, I got to say, I've been getting from some beautiful people who follow me, and just having random conversations with other work people who are in the industry and do this stuff. That yeah, it was really positive and great to hear that. And the thing that and one of them said, people who complain about your rate aren't going to come in anyways. And I said, how true is that? How true is that? People who complain, oh, you're too expensive or you're too this, they weren't going to pay for it anyways. They were waiting for you to give it to them for free. And I was like, wow, okay, I never thought of that. So yeah, made me all kind of like, yeah, okay, I get it. I get it. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. So if people have feedback for me and, about raising prices, because I hummed and hawed because my hourly rate is 180, and I was wondering if I should go to 200 to 250, and about having that as an hourly rate. And I'm still, even at that rate, believe it or not, I am below the average psychic reader through the United States and other ones that I've seen throughout Canada, if not more, because you go into great details and you are accurate and you tell people the truth. Thanks, Shar. Thanks. Thanks. Yeah, so I just found that really interesting. I love it. Thank you for the feedback. It is one of those things. So, yeah, so there's that's happening. And I was quite happy. So let's look at some of the news. Let's look at some of the things that are going on in the world. It is not going to be a quiet weekend. Sometimes we're like, oh, it's going to be a quiet, nice weekend. No, no, no. We're starting into some kind of craziness. And we're entering into a lot of new energy, as we got Jupiter is going to be going up to 20 degrees. We have Pluto at 2 degrees. We have the moon is in Gemini. That's probably why I'm talking so fast. Oh, give me that Gemini energy, and I just like goes through me. And this is about looking at things, and sometimes like the hard facts, like you're wanting the hard facts. It's a hard facts that a lot of stuff of the hard facts are not true. So frustration is sort of on the table right now. A lot of frustration, a lot of wanting to push ahead, go forward, do this, do that. Is there's I just feel like there's just a mound on the table, and people trying to push their way through it, and it is not. That's not it. Don't try and do it. It is just being the observer, to see how you can work through things in more of a logistic way, in more of a way of connection, and how you can connect with what you are trying to sort out in your life at this time, and bringing it bringing it each day, and calling in your angels, bringing it each day, because we still have a lot of energy in Pisces. And I'm going to get more into that too. We had the Saturn Mars conjunction, and that's heavy stuff. Both very heavy stuff in Pisces. So we got this heaviness in Pisces, right? And it's like the Saturn and Mars conjunction is like throwing an anchor off of a ship. You just throw this anchor off the ship, and then it's like all of a sudden. And if you've ever seen where if you just throw an anchor off the ship, how it can sort of like pull them back or turn them around because of the pressure. And then you don't want to, all of a sudden it's like, I don't want my anchor there. I don't want my anchor there. That's not where I want to stop. And your anchor's stuck. So you have to figure out how to get your anchor unstuck. Either go down there, get someone to go down there and jimmy it away, kind of thing. And that's how it is. That's how sort of the feeling is. It's like, no, this is not. I feel stuck. I don't want to be here. This is not where I want to be anchored, right? And with all of, with that energy with Pisces and Neptune, Neptune is still there. He's still the ruler. He's the ruler basically of the charts right now, because he's the only one in his sign. He's the dude, and he's the one who wants to rule the seas, rule things, and put a stamp on how the world should be. As we are progressing, we still have that sun in Aries, right? The sun is moving through, the sun is moving, it's off of Chiron, but it's still, even with all of this, going on, and the sun is like exalted and it looks good, and it's, this is what I want to do, this is where I want to be, and feeling yet, I can't get through this. It's kind of like the plastic, you get sort of like a sort of like this plastic, and you're just trying to get through it, but you can't. So you have to sit back and wait a moment till you can figure out how to maneuver your way through this and allow yourself to go forward. And it can be frustrating. It can get a little bit overwhelming. It can be where you just want to get, like today, just driving. That's the other thing. Watch how you drive on the freeway, because people are going to be out of sorts. Like I am not a patient driver sometimes. Just saying, I'll throw it out there. I'm honest. I'm not a patient driver. If you're driving slow, get the hell out of my way. Why are you driving slow? This guy, as we're coming after we dropped off Mateus, and and it's like 40 kilometers. Okay. All of these streets go from 50 to 40 to 30 to, whatever. So it's 40 kilometers. This guy's going 20, and you can't pass him. Right. And he's just like, and then he sort of moves over to the side, and then he moves over to the other side. And Steve's starting to swear, which is, and it's like, what the fuck is he doing? Like, "Wah!" And I'm just like, what the fuck is he doing? But the guy was just like, and we started to see more in that. And I'm just like, oh, okay. People, when it comes to that Pluto, or when it comes to that Neptunian energy, and that all of that Pisces energy, not everybody's going to be, feeling good or feeling balanced, and, yeah, I'm focused and I'm driving. They might feel a little bit off, a little bit shady, a little bit unhinged. So feeling a little bit of the unhingedness, and that could be a wee bit frustrating for people today as well. So just don't freak out. Like, try not to. You might have some freakouts. It is just the the cray cray of the shenanigans of the planets are happening. Now, one of the reasons I didn't come right on at 10 o'clock is that I started to listen to my Leo King, because I'm a part of his group thing, and we started talking about the crazy astrology killer. That's what we're calling her, the crazy astrologer killer, who killed her boyfriend, threw her baby out of the car, 8 months old, and threw her daughter out of the car. And I think her daughter was 8 or 9, on the main freeway in LA. Now, that freeway is like a fucking crazy freeway, just to drive it. And then she went on and off street and drove her car into a tree and killed herself. Now, we started talking about her, and I saw I saw the news on this a day or two ago when it happened. It came across my feed, and my first thought was like, "Oh shit!" And then mentioning that she's an astrologer, and I'm like, "Okay, this is here. It comes. Here it comes. This woman is there's something there that's going on, definitely, with her mentally. But of course, the other flip side is the attack on the astrology community, which is, the news didn't come out really and say that, oh, it's because she's an astrologer kind of thing, from all of this. But it's there, that attack on the community of like, ooh, wackos, believe in God. God is the only way. Jesus Christ is going to save you, and believe in His Spirit and everything else. Anyways, so we know that, and it came out in the LA Times. There's a whole article in the LA Times about the mother who killed herself, her children, and but being in the group we wanted to really look at her chart and find out what her chart is. And some of the parts I can't pull it up because it was in a private community, so I can't pull it up on here. But we know that she was her partner was 29 years old. We know that he was a Taurus because we looked into other things that she did, and she mentioned how he was a Taurus. We figured out she was a Libra, born in 89 and in around September 28th, 29th. And she was a Virgo rising. And we figured that out through something that she was on. She was on a talk show, and it was her birthday. So we started to figure that all out. I love the Leo King because he can figure shit out in his head like that. It's crazy with the degrees and shit like that. He can figure it out. So he figured out, around approximately she was born. So between 4 and 4:30 a.m., which gave her a Virgo rising. And then we started to look at her chart, and we're just like, holy shit. Like, there was a lot going on in her chart. And that's the whole thing. That's, when you start looking at someone's chart and you start seeing different, she had a Venus Pluto conjunction in Scorpio. She was just born by the new moon in Libra. She had Mars on her sun in Libra, and they're both in detriment, meaning that they don't like to be there. And then we looked into her progress chart. And because she was so fixated on the eclipse and everything to the eclipse, we looked at also that she'd never lived through a Libra eclipse because we hadn't had one since 1987. So she went through her first lunar eclipse with Libra, and that was just the last full moon. And so we figure, like, as we're looking at her chart, like, there's a lot of things that were starting to trigger her, right? She had, with her energies, some of them in Cancer, where it showed where she could be a very loving, caring parent, but where her Saturn was in Capricorn, it is where, and she had with Neptune in there as well. So Neptune and Uranus is in there too with that age group, where you could get overly fixated on work and how I look and how I want to present myself and how I want to be out there. And this age, I mean, I know this age group. I have a son was born in 1990, that mental issues are huge in that age group. Like, if they're not getting help. And so when we looked at her chart and we looked at her progressions and things like that, where her Jupiter went retrograde, she was born everything forward except for her Mercury. Her Mercury was the only thing retrograde. Where her stuff was, the lunar eclipse was opposite her sun. At that time, we have a Jupiter opposite her Venus and her Pluto, and at 19 degrees. So she had a lot coming in at her. So we as we looked at her chart, it was like she had a lot of wounds. She was a very wounded child. She said she had a near-death experience at the age of 3. Looking at the things that she was selling were a lot of things to do with her wounds. And some of the things that she was promoting or she was hyping just seemed, because she was like a Reiki master, studied for 3 years with all of her metaphysical work and things along that line. Just some things just didn't seem right. And there was mother issues. And so mothering and mother issues. How we figured about 4:30, because everything happened, and killing her child and her son and her boyfriend was around 4:30, between 4 and 4:30 of that day. And it was just the amount of mental stress, plus they figured that she was, um, postnatal depression, because the baby was 8 months. They weren't sure because she wasn't diagnosed with it, but there is an assumption of that, with her. So there's so much, and going through and looking at her chart was one where you could see that she's the one in charge. Like she wants to be the one in charge. She wants to be the one who is like, you love me, and I'll tell you how to love me, kind of thing. Him being a Taurus, just it felt like he was there to help her heal. Like he was there to really help her, um, through his energy. And trying to be there. Now, he was on the couch with his socks on, just laying on the couch when she stabbed him to death. So 10 to 1, he was maybe dozed off or something. Um, don't know, the accusations, but I guess they're arguing the night before. And the only one who will be of knowing a lot of this will be her daughter. And sending out freaking blessings to that little girl who's going to have to go through some holy shit counseling for quite a long time, or even for the rest of her life, with everything that goes on. And this is where, and especially if she was 3, and saying that she was 3 years old and having a near death experience. When people have near death experiences, this is where you see a change within them, and it's 99% that they change in a very positive way. Now, when she said she had this near death experience, we were looking at some of her progressions. It just didn't make sense, because she did have, um, I think it was something to do with the Mercury in Virgo. So it had to be factual. Like it had to be factual. Like that's the whole thing. Is like when you see a Mercury and a Virgo or Mercury in Gem, it has give me the straight funds. Don't mess around. I need the facts. And this is it just didn't feel right. Maybe she saw something, maybe she was um there was a fear, because I mean 3 years old, that's, very young. And to remember things like that, I mean something traumatic could have happened in her life, definitely. Uh but then put her daughter through a near death experience, put her baby in a death experience, and her boyfriend and a death experience, and herself, is just another oddity. Now, looking at her chart, she didn't come in with an easy chart. She came in with a lot of shit to work through in her lifetime. And this is one of the reasons I love astrology, because it shows you this. It shows you where, as the Leo King was saying, he said, if she came in for a reading, he would have said, this is not the time to you know, uh, continue on with doing an astrology, doing your work. This is a time for you to heal. Once you heal, then you can go in and do it. And this is where it's because she had so much pain, so much pain, so much pain. I was mauled by a dog at the age of 3, missed my jugular by a hair. Yeah, so I mean, uh, that's horrendous, right? And just to have that experience, and I feel like that could been with her, like something that was very horrendous that she experienced. I don't know if it was a near death experience. The reason why it just didn't feel right. But anyways, looking at her interview and looking at the things in her interview and stuff, it was also, putting out that everything out here had to love me. This has to love me. This has to love me. And it was just interesting to look at the chart and look at how things were going, and how um she was reaching a lot outside for everything else to heal her, and that she wanted the love, but the love was there, but in accepting the love the way that she wanted to accept, to be. Libras, not saying anything against Libras. I love Libras. My baby son's a Libra, but they can put everything out about them and not look at the whole picture, right? And not look at everything else. And then with the Virgo rising as well. Um, it can have a little bit of, having it just this way, and it has to look this way, and it has, and this is all, and making this, do this dance for me, and then I'll be happy kind of thing. So, that, and then I was blamed for it by my grandma. That took some work for me to get through. Yeah. Yeah, I know. I know. But we do that. We do that. It's all your fault. Um, but that's the whole thing, is just looking at that whole traumatic, how, and also how that affected everybody else within that, who had to be on the scene for that, who were called in, the EMS, the police, the fire department, all of them who were called in, um, for that, and the tragedy of it. Her neighbor coming out and seeing blood splattered all over the place, right? Um, all over the elevator, all over the walls and everything else, because she tried to drag him out. Like, just her whole thought process um wasn't there. And then her kids must have been there. Her kids must have been like, holy fuck, what's, mommy's gone Looney Tune. The 8 months old is like, you know, like, I don't know, kind of thing. So it's a horrid, traumatic experience through that all. And I feel like, when I was talking about yesterday, when people do certain things and that are horrific, and where they have to go heal. Now, the part of, taking those lives and everything is a huge one, and then taking her own life. So she kind of double whammied herself with this death, killing herself, the suicide, and not taking 100% responsibility for her own reality. And also, going and projecting everything else to do the blame on it. But she also, in her chart, was like, it was like she had blinders on, and she only had one focus, and that focus was that eclipse. The whole focus was on the eclipse, and everything from the eclipse. I mean, a lot of what she was writing, about the eclipse was, uh, in March, she posted a GIF of a tapered candle surrounded by leaves, calling it a free eclipse protection candle for your mind and body, advising users to like to activate. But as an eclipse drew nearer, her post grew more alarming. On Friday, she wrote, an all capital message: if any spiritual account is not revealing the truth right now, they are fake, they are lies, they have sold out and are on the wrong side. Wake up. So that was what she wrote. The eclipse have become fraught with conspiracy of imminent doom. Social media posts, including one on Reddit that expressed concerns over an impending massive human sacrifice during the eclipse, have gained attention despite lack of credible evidence. The 2017 NASA published a web page dedicated to debunking various myths surrounding that year's eclipses. One was the eclipse are prophecies of major life changes or impending events. And so the article goes on. But the things that she was coming out and saying were, just by her posts and just by reading some of her posts, were just okay. It just felt like she really, there was an instability with her. Um, and then she also wrote, I got so much when I went online and became an astrologer and started doing Reiki and started doing distance healing. And she claims to have Cherokee medicine woman, and was born with the ability to see spirits and heighten intuition. So something there, definitely. I'm not saying she didn't receive information. I think she did, but I don't think she got the whole got the whole um 9 yards, the whole picture. Um And then she also, which is really odd, is that she also offered for $6.99 per month home purifying cleanse that stripped people's residents of stagnant energy, citing better sleep and increased vibration as some of the benefits. Activating the service was simply purchase the cleanse, get a piece of paper, title it Home Purifying Cleanse, write your address on it, and then tuck it away in a safe place, she wrote. And she also wanted you to send it in to her. So, yeah, so there's a lot there that she was definitely going through. Uh that energy in that area would be very weird to drive through. You'd still feel the residuals of it. I feel like the baby was picked up automatically. The baby was picked up and gone. So I feel the council of angels came down and picked up the baby. The baby was gone. So the baby's gone. The baby's not with her, but I feel it's almost where um yeah, the baby's gone. The baby's up. For her, she's still fighting. She's still fighting. She's still fighting. She's still arguing. She's still there's a lot of that residual energy that's there. Um He's gone. I feel ooh, I just got dizzy. He just he's moved on. Um I feel he's with his grandmother and grandfather. So somebody came in there for him and and brought him. But for her, she's still um when it comes to her soul and those pieces, yeah, she's a very fractured, like we'll call it a fractured soul. So, her name online was Mystic Lipstick, Mystic Lipstick. So, so that was very, it's very emotional. Like looking at everything with her and the emotional piece for her as always, getting the help and stuff you need. And I was even saying that, the whole thing is like people through this eclipse, and I was saying that too. It's like it's a high suicide. People just lose it around this time. And because of so much Pisces and energy that's there, confronted with that, Aries energy that, got to get it right, got to do it right, and feeling a little bit off. So that is a real crazy um crazy energy and stuff. So that's the whole thing. There's here in Calgary, there were two girls when walking along 16th Avenue past 52nd, so way up there in the northeast. And they were walking from, I think, a party to, I could still see them. I could still see them. And they were walking home. Something happened and it was quite late at night, but the city had the lights out in that area, so they didn't change the light bulbs or whatever. And the guy who was driving along did not see the two girls on the side of the road. And one is just like he ended up something happened to pull off. Don't I can't remember the whole thing, but he hit them both. One died instantly and the one went into hospital in intensive care. And every time I drove through that area, I had to call in Archangel Michael, because it's just like every time she'd come sitting in my car and asking me, "Where's my sister? Where's my sister?" And I'm like, "Well, she's at the hospital. I believe, and after it's like, "No, she's been discharged." And she says, "Well, where's my sister? I need to get my sister. I have to bring my sister home. I have to make sure she's safe." And that's the whole thing. Is like even I know she's still there. I know she's still looking for her sister. It's one of those weird kind of loop things that she's in, and blessing it. I've sent many angels there to bless her, to help her, to guide her, to send her forth. I think over time, um, because they did a memorial and they put flowers out there for her, I think that really helped as well. So when some, yeah, so with all of that, her energies, I feel, is going to be in that area for some time, and to a point where she may not even understand what she did, right? That gives me serious goosebumps. Yeah, and not understanding exactly what she did, and also just the fact of where she was mentally to take your car and go at 110 kilometers into a tree is pretty fucked up. It's pretty fucked up, you know? That's the craziness of it, with everything. So, yeah, so we have that. That's kind of, another kind of thing, you know, uh, for the energies that are happening at this time. The other thing, we're going to a totally different, is that anomaly, and I know it has to, somebody was saying about the vibrations of the earth and everything. There's a glitch somewhere within the earth, and then this anomaly came out of Antarctica. Now, if I okay, I'm going to share this with you. No, not not that. Not doing that. Share screen. That's what I want to do. So this is on BitChute that I got. Now this weirdness here. Let me see if I can play it.
Go. Watch this. Here's Friday the 12th tomorrow. Moving more up the African coast. Here is Saturday the 13th. We can see it start to wrap around the northern western coast of Africa up into the Atlantic. Here is Sunday the 14th. Monday the 15th. We are in the Atlantic Ocean with waves of 62.1, 63 feet. This is just incredible. Here is Tuesday the 16th. And look, the entire thing is now in the Atlantic Ocean with averages of about 40 feet. There's 44, 33, 34.3. This is just very weird. What are we looking at here? Here's Wednesday the 17th, the last available data for this. And now we see the entire Atlantic Ocean, which, as we've discussed, is already months ahead of time as far as temperatures. And we're looking at this very odd anomaly coming out of Antarctica. Now watch, I'm going to backtrack. I'll show you where this thing begins. We'll go all the way back to Monday the 8th. This is where the anomaly begins, and sometimes it glitches out. It's very weird. Here's Tuesday the 9th, and there it is. Pops
There you
right
go.
up. It's almost like
Pops
this thing
right out.
shot out of Antarctica
This
and
looks
up
like
towards the African coast.
and
And
up,
as we
and then it
backtrack in
travels
hours, we
all
go
the
to
way up.
5 a.m., 8 a.m.
And how it travels through Antarctica all the way up. And it's by I'm going to stop the share. By the time it gets to around the 17th, it is through the Atlantic Ocean up off the side there. Now, if anybody's on the coast there, I would just say get prepared for whatever, because this is getting very close to the Jupiter Uranus conjunction. And the last time Jupiter and Uranus got together, Fukushima happened. So, and so we know there's going to be some kind of disruption, some kind of disruption. Now, this is kind of a weird anomaly. They're not even sure what it is. That clip that I just played is uh, from BitChute, and bringing it in from BitChute, and it was caught on radar. So this is caught on radar, right? So this isn't somebody kind of trying to mess over. And nobody knows exactly what it is. Nobody's saying what it is. Where will it hit next, Mama? Well, it's going to be going up the coast of going up the coast of Africa, and going up, and it's going to be along the east coast of the United States, all in that Atlantic Ocean area. So, bring you back. And I know you're in Jersey, Derek. He's like, I'm in freaking Jersey, Mom. Stop this. Okay. Um, bring this back.
11 a.m., 2 p.m., 5 p.m., 8 p.m., and that's where it pops up between 5 and 8 p.m. This thing does not exist, and then it does
Between
exist on
5 and
Tuesday
8
the
p.m.
9th at 8 p.m. After that, it just slowly moves up into the African coast. Here is the 10th once again, Thursday the 11th, Friday the 12th, Saturday the 13th,
It's right.
Sunday the
So, boop. It's right here today. That's where it is today.
13th, Sunday the 14th, Monday the 15th, and then Tuesday and Wednesday, this thing bleeds all the way into the Atlantic Ocean.
This
My friends, what are we looking at here?
that goes all the way into the Atlantic
This
Ocean.
piece of freaky
So, a piece of freaky footage. So this is pretty crazy for the energies. It is on. Oh, you're in Long Island, New York. So in around that island. So anything along in the Atlantic Ocean. Now we're not sure what's going to happen. We know it's getting close to the to that Jupiter Uranus conjunction, and Uranus is change, vibration, it's electrical. Jupiter just expands things. And the last time they got together, and I remember because I was working that day when Fukushima got hit with the earthquake. It was just within, because they're conjunct for an hour. It was within that time frame. Now it'll be conjunct around 7:30 a.m. That's Mountain Standard Time. You're 2 hours ahead of me, Derek. 7, 8, 9. So it'll be conjunct around 9, 9:30 to about 10:30, 11. That conjunction. So during that time, disruptions, things could happen, you know. And that's it's one of those things when the two of them get together. For them to be together, this is the first time since May 1941. And if you go back into the history, and Roosevelt was president at the time, there was a lot of talk. They didn't really want to get involved with what was going on with Germany. They didn't want to get involved with what's going on with Britain at that time. They didn't want to have anything to do with it. But just after that, Roosevelt, oh, what did he do? Something to do with security, securing his country, doing a security upon the country, and kind of like locking the borders down, but not locking the borders down. And he put the country on high alert shortly after that. And that was in May of 1941. So in about June, July, everything went on high alert. In December 7th of that year, I believe that's when Pearl Harbor happened. So we have a lot of things that are coming in and switching things up and moving things around. The other crazy thing too is that they're bringing in back this bird flu shit, everything to do with the bird flu. And they're really pushing it right now, and that's because the WHO treaty, which is they're going to be coming together between May 27th and June 1st on signing a treaty with the WHO, and they're already working on the the bird flu mRNA shot. So when it comes to a lot of craziness, yeah, there's a lot of craziness that is unfolding, a lot of things that are like, I'm not even sure what that is. It's, you know, is it energetic waves that are going up? I don't know. I'll have to go back. I'll have to go on Google Earth and take a look on Google Earth and see, because it's very odd, very odd. It's the whole piece of it. Thank you. Is just an oddity. We'll just call it that. It's just an oddity right now. And it's a wait and see. It's a wait and see of what's going on. Now I know France and England and that have been crazy rain there, like more than usual. I mean, England gets rain all the time, right? So it seems, but they've been getting a lot more rain than usual. So a lot of torrential rainfall has been coming down in that area too. And so it's just interesting to see how that's going to unfold along the coast, and just hitting that coast of Africa. I find that quite interesting, you know. So we'll see. The current two in the Atlantic Ocean has slowed down. So they've even come in because if the current was going faster, it would have been pushing it out a lot more. But the current has been slowing down. And that's why you've been finding a lot of dead whales and things upon the shores at this time because of the current. The current is off in the Atlantic Ocean. So, we hear weird things coming out about Antarctica. We hear about, them doing different things and dropping different seismic vibrations down into the earth, and which causes earthquakes, causes disruptions, along with the CERN particle being started up, and that going on. And the thing is, once they start it up, those scientists can't stay on site there. They do have to move. They do have to leave, right? And then receive the energy off site, right? So so that's so that's kind of crazy in itself. So we do have a lot of things in motion. A lot of things are going. This weekend is not going to be a normal weekend. It's going to be on high alert with the energies, and with the frequencies that are coming through from the planets. So things are going to be feeling on very high alert. You're going to be feeling like, "Ooh, I got to get through things," and wanting to push through things. And this is like, okay, no, take your time. What is it that you've been working on? This is what I've been saying. What have you been working on? What do you need to work on? Is that too much? Get out in nature, go for a walk, connect, sit down, come in with your meditation pillow, and call in your angels. Archangel Michael, come in, put your arms around me, guide me, protect me in all that I do and all that I say and I be. Archangel Raphael, help me to heal, help me to understand more of what I need to understand upon my journey as I go through this earth walk. So these things are going to be important over this next week and as we continue on. So a little bit of craziness, but I think it's in some ways it's scary, but in another way, it is just a way of allowing people to say, "Hey, we have to start looking at the world in a different way, and not in a way that is causing carbon tax and all of this," which is, another talk for another day, but where we have to come together and say, "Hey, this is wrong. This is what we need to do. This is how we need to come together." But hey, isn't that always a process here on Earth? It seems like that's been going on for the last couple of years. So let's find our plant. Let's find our plant. Tomorrow, I am going to be. Where am I going to be tomorrow? I'm going to be somewhere tomorrow. I'm going to be at the Pagan Spirit Fair. Pagan Spirit events. I got to get the address out here for you guys, so I'll put this out for the Pagan Spirit. A tea, crumpets, and a cookie and a biscuit. Yes. Man, I can never remember. I know I have to be somewhere tomorrow, and that's the new moon market tomorrow from 11 to 4. And it's at, I think it is at the Crossroads Community Association here in Calgary. So it's that's where I'm going to be from 11 to 4 tomorrow. And I am looking forward to all that is going to be there. It's going to be a lot of fun. There's some really beautiful people that are going to be there and selling some really beautiful items, and then just bringing that connection. So come on down and see me tomorrow at the Crossroads. All right. Let's pull out. I go to the top of the page. What am I at? Ooh, what do I get? What am I? I got an apple, but then I got a whole thing on apples. I'm not going to read it. I'll read this. Simple apple love spell consists of cutting an apple in half and sharing it with your loved one. This ensures that you will be happy together. A similar spell directs you to hold an apple in your hand until warm and then give it to your intended. If she or he eats it, your love will be returned. Ooh, so apples. So apple, the fruit of the god, the fruit of the underworld. Silver branch, the silver bough, tree of love. Feminine, ruled by Venus, water. It has deities, Venus, Dionysus, Olin, Apollo, Hera, Athena, Aphrodite, Diana, Zeus, Iduna. So this is for love, healing, garden magic, and immortality. So it is a feast. And there's a feast too. April 13th was Diana's festival in Greece. And on this day, a ritual meal was prepared, part of which consists of apples and still hanging on their boughs. Wiccan altars are often piled with apples on Samhain. So the Feast of Apples. So the apple's having a very powerful meeting. If you cut it in half, you have the star in the center with an apple as well. So apples are very powerful. So bringing in the apple. Go have an apple today. Go have an apple with Kyle all the time. It's kind of cool. I didn't know that. Oh, that's cool. I don't eat apples. I'm allergic to them. I don't eat apples. So, but it is. Apples are very powerful, used in different, I can eat apple pie or apple turnovers. If they're cooked, I can eat them. But if they're even after washed, no. Because apples have some kind of weird stuff on them. You know. Oh, you're welcome, Lexi. So just to let you all know, on the 20th is the meditation, and it's by donation. And then on the 29th, we start the astrology for May. And so you'll have a workbook. We'll meet for 4 Mondays in the evening and go through simple parts and start this, working with the astrology. My hair keeps falling down. I want to look. My hair's kind of wild today. That's just the way it went. It was down. It was just, if I had it down, it'd be like out here. That's the way my hair was today. I went, oh. Either way, I look like a mad woman. Bringing in the madness. So. Bringing in the madness. One more time. And let's see what the cards are for today. Oh, okay. It's reversed. So, things might not be going the way you want them to go, not in the direction that you want to go. So don't fight it. Don't fight it. I mean, it's earth, I want to go this way. So you're pushing up against a mountain, and that's not where you should be going. So don't be pushing. Don't try and force things to happen, because situations are dying away. They're going. So we have a lot of situations that are moving away that are no longer in your alignment. But if you're pushing to keep them or saying, this is what I need to have and this is the way I need to do it, it's just going to flop in your face. So don't do it. That's it. Just don't do it. Stop pushing. All right. So I'm going to send you guys out so much love. Got to get going here. Mateus is only half days on Friday, which makes him so happy because he's just like, oh, school is so exhausting. If you're wanting to book a reading, let me know. I'll get you in. And if you're wanting to join me for the meditation or the astrology at the end of the month, definitely let me go. Let me know and let me go. So have a fabulous weekend. May the Lord and Lady watch over and bless each and every one of you. Hey, we got some strange ass shit happening in this world, and it's just going to continue getting even nuttier. So go with it. Let's go with it. Bye bye.